Right. Well, look, Canada libs again. All right. I'll say it again. It's punny. Okay. Canada libs again. I thought this was worthwhile talking about. Yeah, it's a little bit off topic, but who cares? It's worth talking about. It's world news. It's worth conversing about. Canada's just like sealed their how long's their parliament run for? 4 years, 5 years? Because they've sealed their demise for that length of time.
Well, look, they could have another election in 18 months or less. They do not have a majority.
But how long does it normally run for? Just if say if
I
it was
think
going smoothly.
I think it just depends on confidence within the government and who the party puts as the leader.
No, there's a term though. There's a parliamentary term before
I
another
don't.
general election, isn't there?
Okay, I'm going to say this again. I don't know, but I do know because I've been reading that within 18 months they could be having another election again, or possibly even sooner. Just like anybody who has a parliamentary government is in fear or doom at any moment that they could just no confidence vote themselves into a new election. So, yeah.
You know what though? They're not worried at all. This guy was not a politician.
No, he's the WEF. He is
Suddenly
the WEF selection. Yeah.
So Canada's screwed. Let's listen to this. Because Canada is screwed.
We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade, anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. But it's also our new reality.
Talk about it.
We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves. And above all, we have to take care of each other. When I sit down with President Trump, it will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between two sovereign nations. And it will be with our full knowledge that we have many, many other options than the United States to build prosperity for all Canadians.
Well, like flood your country with Indians? What do you mean many options? What are you talking about, you pleb? Many, many, many options. Oh, just flood your country with Indians. That's fine. Flood it with Pakistanis as well, I'm sure. Why not? Just fund your own replacement. Just genocide your own Canadian people. Don't you worry about it, mate. It's fine. WEF backed, WEF approved. What a weird thing to say immediately prior to going to have a conversation with Donald Trump. Like, this is obviously going to get to his desk. Yeah, old relationship with us over. Yeah, it's done. It's done. Yeah, we're done. We're done. But we're going to have a conversation with him. So, mate, what are you doing? Where's the diplomacy anymore? These people are morons. And what are you doing? Canada's got loads of resources. Sure, fine. But then you can't be like, well, we need to be very like insular. Global trade's over. We need to be our sovereign nation. We're going to look after ourselves. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. But pick a lane, because you can't be a globalist whilst also looking after yourself. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, this guy's a moron.
Handpicked moron.
Handpicked moron. But also, this is all a direct response, presumably date-wise, of Donald Trump being like, yeah, we're going to annex Canada. And you're like...
Which was a joke.
Okay. Well, apparently Canadians don't have a sense of humor, allegedly, by the look of this. But also, actually, that Polivier, whatever his name is.
Polivier.
The containment guy, right? Got rid of him. Good. That's fine. Actually get right-wingers now then. Like, actually get some right-wingers in there. Like, actually right-wing. Not overthrow, but remove these turds from power eventually, not overthrow. That was a bad choice of words there. You get my point. Democratically overthrow. There you go. These turds. And save your country, because all they're going to do, we've got options. Your options are flood your country with Indians, because that's what you've done. And they're bragging about stealing stuff on TikTok. So well done. Good. Excellent. Anyway.
Sounds like the UK.
No, we don't have any. We've got Pakistanis and every other detritus that washes up on the shore, apparently, and just gets let in. And now we're going to pay for them. Fucking anyway, whatever. Bo.
Yeah. I did a segment on this today on the podcast. I don't know if you saw that at all, so I'll just rehash my talking points on that. But it's remarkable. There's a few data points, there's a few polls that came out that showed that it was largely the over 60s in Canada, so the boomer generation, that just completely flipped. Like the chart just goes skyrockets. That they lost their mind over Trump's words, which, as Culture correctly said, was always a joke. It was like a sort of almost silly bluster. The United States were never going to annex Canada. It's not 1812. Okay, so that was always just Trump bluster, and anyone who isn't suffering from Trump derangement syndrome would have known that. But yet, no, Canadian boomers lost their mind. And now, another 4 odd years of the Liberals in Canada. So, steaming towards the demographic cliff edge as fast as possible. There's a load of data points about what people cared most about for their voting intentions in this. Things like healthcare, things like Canada's future, and the Trump question and all that sort of thing. And for the over 60s, it was like they didn't care about anything. Well, not anything. They didn't care about all the normal things that people vote for, but the Trump question, it was just through the roof. The graph was just through the roof. They basically TDS'd themselves into another 4 years of the Liberals destroying their country, and flooding them with Indians. Absolute madness. Canada didn't even need to bomb the Baldwins in order to earn. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me, yeah. And Carney was head. Well, for a start, he was a Goldman Sachs man, so a pure globalist left shield puppet to begin with. And then he was head of the Canadian Central Bank, and he was head of the Bank of England for quite a while. If people remember that.
Yep.
And yeah, he's only been the equivalent of a Canadian MP for like 1 year or something. So it's absolutely parachuted in, and I feel gutted really for Canada, for any Canadian that isn't a liberal who wants to destroy their country as fast as possible. I feel really sorry for them. They've been screwed over here by boomer TDS.
It's tragic, really, isn't it? I mean, you'd have thought after what that Liberal Party did with the truckers and just that insane stuff, like actually insane stuff, you'd have thought that everyone would have learned their lesson to get as far away from these types of people as possible and get like it's funny, isn't it? Because this guy talks about sovereignty. It's like Canada's not sovereign. Canada's not sovereign. You've got global puppets.
The Queen is on our Queen or King is on your money. Yeah, your head of state is the King of England. Still,
there's that, but just more the globalist element, the sort of web puppetry. But
yeah, exactly. And you guys are subjected to it just like everybody else, And this guy, this knucklehead, that just won, he's like one of the worst of the people that could have been put in a position of power. But Pierre Poilievre, or whatever his name is, lost his whole damn seat in Parliament. That's how this guy collapsed. The guy that was making sense decided to, align himself with, the TDSers, as Bo was talking about. And instead of, continuing to point out just how corrupt the media is in Canada, which he did so very eloquently several months ago, he kind of played right into their hands. Also, they could have gotten rid of Trudeau months and months and months ago, and yet they did not. They allowed him to just, freaking camp out so they could get this guy in a position to freaking strong arm his way in with the support of Soros and his money and the WEF and their money. I mean, look, if Canada wants to look at its future right now, they don't have to look very far. They just see what's going on in China. This is what you guys are going to be. And until you get somebody in there that it doesn't spurg out over another world leader, having a laugh at them, then they got problems. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's
You realize the younger generations in this country, in the United States, as I talk to two UK folks, they're more conservative, especially the men.
Of course they are, because they can see everything that's been taken away from them.
Yeah,
robbing them.
and they're looking at, well, wait a minute, we're not going to have houses, we're not going to have anything. This generation of freaking wackadoodle, leftards are going to try to take it all away from us. They're gonna, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. I don't think that rhetoric works very well on a country that's based on liberty and freedom. And trying to censor them, that doesn't work very well either. And I have a feeling that everybody's going to come to their senses as the stock market corrects itself here in the United States, which it has been doing. You're going to have people, they won't have any talking point that they can lean against. They have no leadership in the Liberal Party here in the States, and the Democrats, which I would call basically communists at this point. The best they've got is that David Hogue guy or AOC. AOC is a laughing stock. Anybody who thinks that this bartender has a clue about how to run anything is beyond mad. Anyway, it is what it is. And look, normally we don't talk politics on the show, but that we got that out of the way. And this guy is pure poison. So, folks, don't install one of these. They're hard to get rid of. And you can certainly vote yourself into tyranny, but you can't vote yourself out. So stop doing it. Anyway, my piece. I'm done.
No, fair. Completely fair point. I just become so sort of tired with this stuff after a while, but also still furious and energetic with my fury at the whole thing, because it's just so tragic. Like,
I'm fast and furious. So.
Well, civilizations have been purposely retarded, basically, and I'm using that word on purpose.
Yeah.
The intellect of society has been purposely retarded in an effort to demean critical thinking skills, because it's so clear as day what is going on, that if anyone had any ounce of critical thinking skills and their intellect wasn't retarded based on generations past, everyone would just revolt and be like, no, man, I'm not going to be replaced in my homeland. What are you doing, you scumbag? Why are we paying billions upon billions upon billions for these scum detritus to turn up and live scot-free when we've got indigenous people homeless? This is an inversion of all that is moral and just. And so, yeah, societies have been purposely retarded for that. And I stand by that, because I think that's genuinely the case. Now, you learn what people are taught in schools now, and it's just it's fucking nonsense. It's absolute tripe. It's nonsense. Anyway. Anything to add? Any final thoughts? Anything to add?
I blame Bo.
No, you guys covered it pretty good.
Good. Excellent. Right, cool. There you go.